grade 5. You are welcome for our new class in this Monday. The date of today is the 19th of October 2020. So our lesson of today is about one of folk tale. Yes, correct, it's folk tale. So some of you will ask, what is a folk tale? So let's start our lesson. Say Bismillah, then we start with the folktale. So, as I told you, our lesson of today is talking about folktale and is the story. So, let us see what is a folktale. A folktale is a story based on a way. So, we have to know that a folktale is a story. But which type of the story? Story based on way of life of a people or place that has been told for a long time. That means this is the definition means that folktale is the story is through from generation to generation. Uh, so in this video we will see the clarification of folktale. Let's start our video.
What is a folktale? Folktales are stories passed down from generation to generation, like fables with talking animals, fairy tales with magic, tall tales with huge exaggerations. Even scary stories are considered folk tales. Oh, and legends about historical figures, sometimes involving magical dragon tales, myths about people with supernatural power, and superhero stories are folk tales too. Don't forget about those Hobbit adventure tales. I think I'm getting it. But what about folklore? Oh, folklore. That's the beliefs and customs of a group of people. So folk tales are just one type of folklore. Does that make sense? Yes, complete sense. Now, if only I could get rid of this pesky mosquito.
So now after this video, you already know the folktale is a story that goes through from generation to generation. It's like Cinderella, Snow White, and Stone to Soup, and different type of tales. And as the child in the video said, folktale is the type of or the is coming under the folklore. After this video, please, I hope if you pick up your pencil and open your book
What
page.
is?
Which page? Page 28. Yeah, exactly, 28. So, my kids, open your books, page 28, please. Yes, what you can see in page 28, as you can see in the picture, we have the title, Tune Soup, a word folktale. So at the top of the page, you can see different ingredients of a soup. So look at the different ingredient for a soup, which one is add. So we cannot answer for this question until read whole story. So what we have to do, we have read and listen to the story, then check our answer to activity 1. So what we have to do, we have to read the story together. But please, before reading a story, I asked you now to pick up your pencil, and as you can see during reading your story, please underline the word already highlighted with blue color. So the words that already highlighted with the blue color should be underlined. You can see now I put it some words. These words already classifying expressions. These classifying already used in a book and highlighted with blue color. So if you don't know one of these expression, you can come to this page for classification of expression, and look at for example, the meaning of crumb of bread. Ahmad, if you don't know, Ahmad Bassam, if you don't know, for example, the meaning of pot of water, so you can see the picture here and you know what's the meaning of pot of water. سهل. If you don't know what's the pot of soup, you have to look at this picture and you will understand the meaning of pot of soup. Head of cabbage. If you don't know Ibtisam, the meaning of head of cabbage, you can see and look at the clarification from this picture. Bag of onions. So as you can see, bag of onion is looking like this one. A chunk of meat. Nor. If you don't know, you can see the meaning from the picture. Punch of carrot. Yes, Ahmad Ali. What's the meaning of punch of carrot? If you don't know, you can see the picture. Sack of potatoes. Dear Suhaila. If you don't know, you can see the picture. Pinch of salt and pepper. Suhaib in Mar. Yes, who else? Muhammad. If you don't know the pinch of salt and pepper, you can look at this picture. Yes, exactly. Same like this picture. This is the meaning of pinch. Pinch of salt, pinch of pepper, pinch of sugar. All these we call them pinch. We can say also pinch of herb. Bowl of beans. If someone who didn't know this meaning, Sarah, Haneen, if you don't know what's the meaning of bowl of beans, you can look at this picture. So, Adam, during your reading, you can check these words and underline them from your book. You can find these words, as I said before, already highlighted. These words, all these words, Adam, already highlighted. So, you just what I want from you, you just underline these words and you can see the picture as here. Now, what we have do, we have go directly to reading these pages, page 22, 28, sorry, 29 and 30. So our story is already divided between three pages, 28, 29, 20, 30 is a really interested story. So I am trying now read the story very fast and you can also reading after I finish my reading, so you can practice reading of the story for many times because we have reading test inshallah maybe next week or by the end of this week. I will decide which date, then I will tell you. Maybe we can do on the Zoom, or inshallah if we can meet you next class we can do face to face. Okay, so let's start our reading please. Yes. Stone Soap, once there was a young man traveling around the country selling goods. Times were very hard and very day every day. He sold less and less until he didn't have any money at all. One on the same day that he ran out of money and food. Oh, sorry. He ran out of money and food. He came across a small village. He thought that in the village he would find someone who would give him a bit of food. He knocked at the door of a pretty looking house. A woman opened the door slightly. The young man asked the woman if she had a little food spare for a weary. What's the meaning to spare? Spare something available because it's extra. So he needs some extra money. Spare. Extra money for weary. For what's the meaning weary? Weary it means tired, poor man or woman. So spare for a weary young traveler, but sadly the woman answered that she had no food at all. Curiously, the same thing happened at all houses in the village. There was nothing, or there was not even a crumb of bread left in the entire village. The young man was not discouraged. Instead, he came up with a plan. The young man found a wealthy looking house in the center of the village. An elderly man answered the door. The young man asked him if he had a large pot of water that he had could spare. The old man asked him what he wanted it for. The young man explained that he was so sad about the lack of food in the village that he was going to make a big pot of soup for all the villagers from a special stone he had found in his travels. The old man gave the young man a large pot of water and stirring spoon and helped him build a big fire next to his house. The young man took a small stone out of his bag and put it in the pot of water. As he stirred the water, the young man mentioned to the old man that the magic soup was always better with a little onion and a head of cabbage to add extra flavor. So the old man went into his house and returned with a big or with a bag of onions and a head of cabbage. Yes, Dia, now we are in the page 29. Yes, in the second paragraph, Dia, in page 29. So, a neighbor who was putting out her washing smelled the onion and the cabbage cooking. She went to the old man's house where she was told about the special soup made of stone. The young man was stirring the soup, mentioned that the magic soup was always very good, but that a little a bit of meat, perhaps a carrot and some potatoes would add some extra flavor. So a woman went into her house and returned with chunk of meat, a bunch of carrots and sack of potatoes. A little girl who was playing in the street smelled the soup and became curious about the smell. So this girl smelled the soup and became curious about the smell. She went to the old man's house. The young man stirred the soup and mentioned to the girl that the magic soup was always very good, but it would be even better with a few beans and pinch of salt and pepper. So the girl ran into her house and returned with a bowl of peas and salt and pepper and added them to the soup of pot to the pot of soup. The woman from the first house where the young man had asked for food. Do you remember that woman? Because that the young man already asked her about spare food. She said, "No, I don't have this food. I don't have any extra food." So this woman from the first house where the young man had asked for food was in her garden collecting some herbs and mushrooms. She smelled the soup and became curious about the smell. She walked down the lane. What's the meaning of lane? Is the small or narrow road. She walked down the lane to the old man's house. The young woman stirred the soup some more and mentioned that the magic soup was always very good, but that a few mushrooms and herbs from the herb basket would add even more flavor. The woman gladly, so the woman is very happy with the happiness. Women gladly added her ingredient to the soup. In a while, the soup was cooked and everyone had a bowl of a delicious stone soup. No one could believe that much a flavorsome. What's the meaning flavorsome? Food that tastes good or the food that has good taste. No one could believe that much of flavorsome soup could be made from just a stone. The young man served another bowl of soup and smiled to himself. Now we arrive to the end of story. What we have to do now, I hope you can read the story many times. If you have some difficult words, you can check on dictionary or you can just ask me in a message. I will try to send you the correct pronunciation and with the meaning if you don't know the meaning. The second thing now, I will give you a chance to watch the story and at the last slide you can see the homework. I will tell you the homework. The homework is already on page 30, and after the video I will tell you exactly what I want from
There was once a comfortable little village nestled in the mountains. The people who lived there had more than enough to keep themselves content. One day, 2 travelers came along. Their coats were tattered, their hats were torn, their dusty shoes had holes in their soles. Hungry and tired, one traveler said to the other, "Surely someone here can spare a bit of food?" They knocked boldly on a door. It creaked open, and a woman asked, "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The woman squinted her eyes and tartly replied, "No." She quickly slammed the door shut. The travelers walked a little farther down the road and knocked on another door. A young boy answered. His chocolate-brown eyes were sweet. "Good day," he said shyly. "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The boy replied, "There's no food here," and closed the door. The travelers wandered wearily through the village, knocking on every door, but everywhere they heard, "I don't care. I won't share. There's no food." They sat to rest beside a well. One traveler sighed and clutched his empty belly. He said, "If there is really no food in this elegant little village, then the people who live here are in greater need than we are. We should make them our magical soup." The 2 travelers climbed up on the edge of the well and shouted, "We are master cooks. If anyone in this town has a big black pot, we will make the most delicious soup anyone ever tasted." A door slowly opened. A round man emerged, carrying a gigantic black pot. "I love to eat," he said. "Here's a pot. Let me see what 2 master cooks can do with it." "Watch and see," said one traveler with glee. The travelers filled the pot with cold water and built a fire. Soon the flames licked the sides of the pot, and billows of steam rose into the air. Curious people began to gather. "What is happening?" the townspeople asked. "Oh, we are making an unusual soup," said one of the travelers. "It requires a special magical ingredient. I am certain we will find it in this town." All the eyes in the crowd watched as one of the travelers reached down and picked up an ordinary stone. He tossed it into the pot with a splash. "We're making stone soup," he said. "It will be nutritious, delicious, incredible, and edible, but it would taste better." He paused and sighed. "If we only had a carrot." "Where would we find a carrot in this town?" the other traveler asked. "We knocked on every door, and everywhere we heard, 'I don't care, I won't share, there is no food.'" "Then perhaps we cannot make the delicious soup after all," they both announced with a sad shrug of their shoulders, and began to turn away. A child timidly raised her hand and said, "Wait! I might have a small carrot." "Excellent!" shouted the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. This magical soup would taste even better if we had a potato," they added. A deep voice in the back of the crowd called out, "I have a potato." "Wonderful!" shouted the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. It would taste better still," they said, "if we had just a few more ingredients." "Perhaps," said one villager, "I could bring a green bean." "Well," said another, "if you are going to bring a green bean, I will bring a kernel of corn." "I shall not be outdone," cried another. "I will bring an egg noodle." One by one, voices announced, "I will bring a slice of celery. I will bring a pinch of pepper. I can bring a sprig of parsley. I might have a tiny turnip." "Well, why are you waiting?" cried the travelers. "Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup." Everyone in the town ran home to bring one small thing to put in the pot. Food flew through the air and landed with splashes in the growing soup. Soon the huge pot was full and simmering. A wonderful smell drifted through the air. The smell was so tempting, people brought out bowls, spoons, chairs, and tables. They placed hearty loaves of bread, chunks of cheese, and bowls of fruit on the tablecloths. Everyone came to taste the soup and marveled at its flavor. "It's amazing," said one woman. "These two travelers made such a delicious soup out of a stone." "Out of a stone," said the travelers with a grin, "and a magical ingredient, sharing." As the travelers left the town, they said, "If anyone ever wants to make this soup again, just remember the recipe. Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. Every bit counts, from the largest to the least. Together we can celebrate a stone soup feast."